Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Soo, your East Oakland advocate. Well, Macy's, longtime Macy's. My mother worked for Macy's, is closing down 150 stores nationwide. And their West Coast primary store is right here in San Francisco. My mother worked for Macy's for 32 years before she retired. And I've been saying for decades that there are too many stores, too many shopping centers, and there's too many opportunities for companies to offer shopping and their products to you. Uh, in a previous video, I was talking about how many malls and shopping centers and shopping districts there are just between Oakland to Lake Sonoma. There were over 231 shopping centers, strip malls, and shopping districts that we passed from Oakland, our home in Oakland in the Grand Lake area, to Lake Sonoma in Healdsburg. 231 different shopping malls. That's too many. And we're only talking an hour and a half drive from Oakland to Santa Rosa, Healdsburg, and Cloverdale. So there's just way too much shopping. The the old business model was that we want you to be able to find whatever you need within 5 minutes of your door. That's what the shopping model was. So if you look at how shopping malls are laid out and strip malls, all of them are within a few minutes of neighborhoods, very densely populated neighborhoods. And they build neighborhoods around shopping malls for that particular reason. And now we're seeing a lot of retailers struggling. Neiman Marcus, Tiffany's, everybody is struggling. The big names, especially the designers, and because people don't have that discretionary income anymore. All that discretionary income is being eaten up by inflation, by high cost of rent, the high cost of housing, the insane prices on cars and vehicles these days, even used ones, is insane. And we've seen a horrible increase in the cost of food. Our food has, for myself, over the past 3 to 4 years, there's been price creep since 2020, because I used to spend $350 on groceries in a month. That was for myself and my dog. Today, I spend $500 for less. I'm actually cutting back and getting the house brands, the store brands, rather than the name brands that I'm used to buying. And now I'm also shopping in the Oakland Chinatown and the Asian markets more. Not so much because uh, you're getting better prices, which you can if you shop around, but the quality is better. The quality is better. And I prefer live uh, seafood over frozen any day of the week. I don't know about you, but fresh tastes a whole lot better than frozen. But it's sad to hear of the businesses that are struggling. And I've had people send me stuff saying, "Oh, businesses are doing great. They have record profits." Well, that's in certain sectors, folks. Certain sectors are doing extremely well, especially those centered around energy. Energy is doing incredibly well. Cars, car manufacturers are struggling because they've overpriced their vehicles so much that nobody can afford them. And with the price of housing, the price of just the cost of living is insane these days. Um, I myself, I'm on Social Security, so I have to watch my dollars very carefully. I do have a backup, where I don't have any limits, but I set mental limits on what I can spend. And that's because those funds are for something else. They're not for my personal use. While I have money available for personal use, I don't use it. I use it very sparingly and only in emergencies. And I try to really support myself, my dog, and my situation with my Social Security. I pay my bills with my Social Security. I don't use my other funds because those funds right now are for the new business that I'm putting together, and I need everything possible for that. And so that's why I'm so Scrooge like on spending any of that money for myself, because this project is huge, and it's a major game changing project for the city of Oakland that will be recognized in the coming years. So uh, while big businesses are struggling because of high costs, we have to find a way to reduce those costs. And bringing wages up is not helping. Um, we see that in the restaurant sector, because now restaurants are really struggling because they're having to pay a living wage. And I don't argue that folks should be paid a living wage, but typically in the past, food service and the food industry was a very transient uh, industry, meaning that nobody made a career of it other than the owners. The owners of the food service were the only ones that stayed in it long term. And so your wait staff has always been very transient. I remember a lot of times I had a lot of friends in the food industry, and getting servers, training servers, and keeping them, retaining them, is very difficult at times, especially um, when they weren't making that much money. If the restaurant has to do really well, some restaurants they do really well, and the I know a lot of the Asian restaurants, the big ones back in the day, had a different kitty tipping service, a kitty, the tip kitty, and the all the tips were combined. So it didn't matter if your server gave incredibly great service or incredibly crappy service. The tip all went to pay the entire staff. The restaurant on was able to maintain lower prices on the food so that it drew people in. But then as but they still had to maintain a certain minimum wage level, and so that's what I saw at uh, my friends' restaurants in the Oakland Chinatown, specifically Dick Jung with Lantern. Our families were very closely tied, and so I knew the business, Lantern, which is now the Asian Health Services in the Oakland Chinatown. That used to be the restaurant, and above the restaurant, the original restaurant started in the 50s by Dick Jung's dad, and he Dick Jung took over from his dad in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, and really expanded the business. There was a flop house, or what they called SROs back in the day, that used to be on top. And the restaurant did extremely well because they were able to maintain and control prices and their overhead. Because one of the incredible things that we learn and that we see from successful businesses is that they own the property they sit on. They don't lease it. They own the property they sit on. And all in And I can vouch for that. I had two businesses that I had leased property, and both of them I struggled horribly to try and keep those doors open. But when I owned the property that my business sat on, I didn't have the struggles because the cost, the overhead was set in stone, and it's a fixed rate. It doesn't fluctuate. It doesn't move. And that's where businesses are failing today because they're tied to a lease that drains their profits. I mean, it drains their profits. The landlords are just blood-sucking leeches. And I hated both the landlords that I had. I've hated when I had to have a landlord over me on my home. That's one of the worst experiences because you can have a really good landlord or you can have a really crappy one. And I seem to get mostly the crappy ones. And that's why I hate renting, period. I'm 100% against renting, leasing. I am for ownership. In fact, if I were to become Oakland's next mayor, my goal is to take home ownership from 38% here in Oakland currently to above 68% in the future. And that's with the new micro homes and the micro communities that I plan on bringing to the city of Oakland. A whole new concept, but they're self-sufficient, they're less cost, and the biggest thing is that they are affordable. They use the newer materials, newer technologies. They're very energy efficient. They're all solar powered, 100% off-grid solar power. You never have a PG&E electric bill. All your electric is self created by your home, literally. And the sun provides all your power that you'll ever need. And there's a backup power supply walls inside of each home so that there's more than enough electricity to supply the home for. Because each of the new micro homes will have washer dryer combo. And so you have something in there that is really valuable, but also very energy efficient. You have dishwashers, you have hot water heaters, a kitchen, bathroom, at least one bedroom, and as many as 3 bedrooms in the new micro homes that I'm proposing for the city of Oakland. And the square footage, it starts at the new minimum living space of 600 square feet of interior volume. And then we can double that to 1,200 by making it 2 stories. So these are very efficient homes. They're literally fireproof because we're not using old antiquated building methodologies. We're using new technologies. We're not including any flammable materials inside the outer walls of the new micro homes. They're literally fireproof, and in some cases they're even bulletproof because of the hempcrete and the steel exterior that protects everything. And the hempcrete is made of hemp and lime, and so very strong, very dense, and very fireproof. And so these are the new urban style homes. They're highly secured because even in the event of major fires, there's a fire door that can be slid closed, locked, and latched. And that's part of the safety and security of the homes of tomorrow, that you can keep people out. You don't have to have those ugly window bars. You don't have to have steel doors, screens, and security doors. These are all built into the home, and they're integrated in a way where it's very aesthetically pleasing. So we have to look at new building technologies. We have to cut down on the labor of building those new homes, which these homes do. You only need 1/3 the labor that you used to in a typical home to if you stick build. it takes 30 to 36 crewmen to complete that home from the slab or from the dirt to your final home. With the new micro homes, as few as 6 people can assemble this home in a month. It's that quick, that easy. We simplify the permitting process. We simplify everything. We take a lot of labor out. We build a lot of stuff into the home itself, making the home very valuable, but also extremely cost efficient. That's what's lacking in business. Adapting to the times. And then the business model that they had was, let's just flood everywhere with shopping centers and stores where they can literally walk out their door and go shopping. And that's what is happening, what has happened throughout the 90s and the 2000s, as we saw building upon building, and even in the Midwest, the Great Mall, which is the largest mall in America. We don't need things like that. Those are monstrosities. That's the same as the rich individuals coming into your lower income neighborhoods and putting in a monster home. That's what that is. And I don't support those. A lot of these businesses need to be cutting back because those areas could be used for more housing or more open space parks. That's what I would do. That's what I would change. But seeing some of the businesses go out, like Macy's, we saw the demise of Sears, we saw the demise of Kmart, Mervyn's. We're seeing a decline in all the major department stores, except one, Amazon. That one continues to grow. But given the times and all the problems that we face going shopping in the places like Target, like Walmart and everything's locked up. I'm annoyed by that too. I hate going into a CVS and having to wait 10 minutes for some flunky to come unlock a door that I could have grabbed the product and been in line and gone out the door 8 minutes ago. It's a sign of the times, folks. It's going to get tougher. I can tell you that. I've seen this because there was a lot of growth going on during the 60s, during the time I was a young child, and then I saw it in the 70s. So this is just coming back again, just that there are a lot more zeros attached to it nowadays than there was back in my early days. Times are changing, and it's dangerous out there. So businesses aren't adapting to what is happening. And so we're going to lose a lot of players. We're going to lose restaurants because the cost of food and the cost of labor. Like I said previously, wait service in restaurants, they were really high-end restaurants if they retained their wait staff for any length of time. And I saw that in San Francisco fine dining restaurants. I would see the same waiters time and time again, but then also you're paying substantially more for those meals, not like going into a Carol's, which is also a restaurant that's long gone. Denny's here in Oakland is no more. Black Bear Diner was one of my favorite go-tos right here close by. They're gone from East Oakland. So we're seeing a lot of contraction in the industry, and all industries except for maybe some tech. But even the tech is struggling right now. We're seeing lots of layoffs. So, folks, this isn't over yet. We're just getting started on this. I've seen it, and it's going to last a while. So tighten your belts. It's going to get bumpy. Thanks for joining me. We'll be right back.